What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to another week, another review, and another Mandalorian episode for us to discuss. And wow, this was a heartfelt episode, specifically for one scene which just made everything more than just Star Wars. It was so heartfelt. We'll get to that later, but overall, I was really happy with this episode and the ending. Whoa. So, before we get into it, remember, spoilers. So, we start the episode with Mayfield. Basically, he's in prison. He's he's part of the group the Mandalorian worked with in season 1, and then he's in prison, basically doing some labor jobs. And Cara Dune, they arrive in the Mandalorian, be like, okay, we can offer you not full freedom, but we want your help. You're part Imperial before, so we want your help. He's like, do I get free? And they're like, no, but you get a better view. So somewhere better to stay than doing this. So yeah, they agree on, and they basically find out that to get the location of Moff's ship, there's this place they can get to it, and there's like this data center they can kind of hack into and get the location. But to get there, we'll have to steal this cargo car or truck, and we need to get into it. Basically kind of like a heist episode at the start. Some amazing car chase scene, if you want to call it that, when they're trying to get into the location. So amazing stuff there, and the way everything goes by. And we finally see the Mandalorian also outside his costume. He's actually wearing I know they're not stormtroopers, but another kind of a stormtrooper costume. For them to get in, they basically steal these costumes and steal the truck. And there's whole chase sequence on this planet. It's amazingly done. So in the start, you're like, wow, this show is actually giving it to us every week. Now, it's like last episode, the one before, they're not holding back. And it's some amazing stuff. There's this thrilling moments in there. It's very well done. Eventually, they definitely reach the place. And when they go in, they're like, okay, there's this data place in like this kitchen place. And you have this authority figures sitting there, and Mayfield's character is like, oh, well, I can't go in there, I can't do this. What if they recognize me? I know him. And the Mando is like, you gotta do this, that was our agreement. He's like, sorry, I can't, what if something happens? So the big thing happens. Mando takes off his helmet and goes in. And it's this moment you're like, wow. You just realize for him and Grogu, or Baby Yoda, whatever you want to call him, the child, their relationship, just that moment shows you that he has grown as a character so much that it's amazing. It's amazing. He's willing to go so far and to risk everything, risk his code, because of what he now believes in. And it's the believer, as the episode name is. It's not just him, it's actually Mayfield's character too, where eventually what happens is that he's getting this data from this terminal, and that authority figure is like, okay, well, something's up. So he comes up to him, and he's like, who do you work for? What regiment you're part of, and all that. And he wants the analysis. And Mando's just quiet, and you're like, oh my god, there's going to be a huge fight. So Mayfield's character is like, he finally realizes, no, he got to step in. And he does step in, takes a huge risk. And obviously, because he was an Imperial trooper, he basically relays all the information. He's like, oh, this guy, there's this small joke. Like, this guy got hurt real bad, can't hear much. And then they basically, okay, you know what? Let's sit on the table. Let's talk. And that table scene, like, as the audience, your expressions are just like what Mando's is. He's like back and forth, back and forth. He's getting tensed because Mayfield and this Imperial high ranker, they're going back and forth. They're talking about an incident that happened, and they're relaying this information. Is like all these people got killed, and he's like, oh well, Imperial. This guy is like, Imperial was on the top, so we win, and it's burning him up, and it's this very tense information. Like, all this information is just making you so tense, and you gotta love Mando's expressions there, and he's just back and forth, back and forth. It's like, okay, what's gonna happen? You as the viewer just sitting there is like, something is gonna go real bad. And then you see Mayfield's the sadness really digging into him because he's kind of recalling his past by talking about it. So eventually you realize what he has been through and what really burns him up and what he believes in, and he can't take it anymore. And I think this is not a dark and light situation where it's like, oh, you cannot shoot first or you shot first, like people talk about as Han Solo's scene. Here, he takes out the gun, he blasts him. And Mando's like, what? And he gives him that look, but at the same time he realizes that this is the right decision. So he takes out the blaster, he starts blasting, and then there's this firefight, amazing firefight, and you have Cara Dune and another character from previous episode. Again, they're all playing as a team now. They're basically somewhere far sniping, and you basically have this chase sequence, them running out of there, and troopers trying to hold them back or to capture them, and whole amazing sequence, and it's like Star Wars. It's just Star Wars in your face. And then obviously Boba Fett arrives in and saves them and rescues them, and they're all good. But at that moment though, I was like, Mayfield's character probably gonna die here. Honestly, there's some moments in there that they put that was like, okay, something really bad is gonna happen, but nothing bad happens, and then they let Mayfield go, and Bill Burr, he's a comedian. His expressions are hilarious. He's thinking like if he turns when they're letting him go, he's like, okay, you're free. We're gonna say that you're dead. Go. And he's like, you're not gonna shoot me, right? You're not gonna shoot me. But if I turn, and he's like turns and he looks back, he's like, you're not gonna shoot me. And it's like this amazing small, I don't want to say cute moment, but you get the gist. It's a good moment. It's this character's growth. It's Mando's growth, and it's not just about like, oh, you're bad or good. And this show is showing that not always just light versus dark. There's more to it. There's a lot of gray areas that people navigate through, and it showed that in this one sequence where they talked about an incident. It relays this information to you, and with Mando's expressions, as a viewer, you're really relating to it. You're like, okay, wow. There's even like the bad people at times, what they've been through is the reason they're on the wrong side now. It's not that they're bad people. So amazing sequence. And then the ending. Oh, the ending, my God. Mando doesn't do anything in that sequence. It's just him talking. But basically he sends a message to Moff's ship, and it is one of the most bad-ass sequences in the entire show. Even in like the old Star Wars movies and shows, at least from what I've only seen the movies and this show. So for me, it ranks up there. And he's like, Moff, I'm coming for you. basically. That kid, you don't even know how important that kid is to me. And you know, maybe you know what he's capable of, but you don't. He's much more than that. And that sequence is beautiful. It, like, Mando's character just comes full circle. From him just being living by the code to him being this father figure and also leaving his code behind at times when it's needed. And it's amazing as a character growth. So this episode was just overall an excellent, excellent episode. And as said before, the Believer as the name of this episode, you really don't know what to expect from it. Like Jedi, you're like, okay, this might be the thing that's happening. Or some of the other names, you usually have an idea. Believer, that kind of a name, I really didn't know what to expect. And at the end, it's really comes together, and the understanding of these characters and what they've been through, how they've progressed, how they've grown, really comes full circle. And I give this episode a 10 out of 10. Yes, there was some action for sure, but as character growth, I think it was very much needed. It was a great episode, great performances, great performance by Pedro Pascal. He actually, when he takes out the helmet, you see his expressions, because we've always, most of the time, only seen him behind the helmet, right? So when he actually took it off, you see his emotions, and it was refreshing to see what he is and what he's feeling. He's just as human, even with the costume on. He's badass, but out of it, it's just as human as everyone else. He has feelings, and those expressions really, really came out and really added to the episode, especially with the last dialogue and Mayfield's character, the story. It was great. It was all great. So what did you all think about it? Leave a comment below. Let me know. And yeah, this is one of the best episodes. I think next one is the last one, I believe. It's only 8 episodes this season, so let's see how they ended. I hope they ride the train and bang it out big time. So yeah, leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought of this episode and what you're expecting in the next episode and what you're expecting in season 3, because it just got announced. So yeah, let me know. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the review, and please remember to share, subscribe, and yeah, I will catch you all later. So until then, take care, and ta-ta, AK out.